We are back out here again today testing another Polaris. This time it's the all-new Polaris RZR Pro R. This vehicle has just come into the country in January. We're at the Evans place. This is Jackson Evans, son of Simon Evans. These guys do rally, they race side-by-sides everywhere. They are the go-to guys when it comes to testing side-by-sides. You've been watching this vehicle for months as it's being produced, and we've been leaked footage and stuff of it. Before we get out and test this thing, what are you looking forward to most when driving this Pro R?
We've been looking into all of the suspension stuff majorly, so we've been watching this car online and keeping up with all the information from the States. Super excited to see how this really performs. The suspension is basically trophy truck stuff now, and we're just getting into the big heavy stuff, and it's just going to be awesome. And
the new ProStar 2-litre engine, obviously you've raced 1000cc 1-litre turbo spec side-by-sides. How do you expect a 2-litre naturally aspirated 4-cylinder to behave differently?
Definitely the 1 litres are pretty impressive with the turbo, but displacement, you just can't beat it. So I'm just excited to see how that torque curve is, and definitely the high speed stuff I think is where it's going to be a real big improvement. Really excited to see what this machine can do.
What have we got in store for testing this thing?
So our track at home that we set up was a short course style track. Big jumps, super rough. Probably not quite the 4-seater platform to suit, but I reckon we're going to be pretty impressed.
We're going to go and attack the track, guys. Stay tuned and we'll give you a full report on what Jackson thinks as a professional racer of the new RZR Pro R. That's a wrap, guys. We have finished testing the Polaris RZR Pro R for the day at the Evans facility. I've still got goosebumps and the adrenaline running through my blood. That was friggin' wild. Jackson, you're the pro in this kind of field. Tell us, mate, first reactions, first thoughts, jumping in the Pro R and doing a few laps.
It absolutely exceeded my expectations. I had big hopes for it, and it's blown it out of the water. The suspension on the car is just unbelievable. You would not touch it as a recreational driver. You would just go and rip it. The thing is just, it's well developed, everything works. Blown me away with how well it just does everything. If you got it sideways and you brake really hard in previous models, they tend to spin and cause all sorts of accidents. I don't know how they do it, but if you brake hard mid-slide, it somehow pulls the front straight, things like that. So much engineering and work going into this vehicle, and it blows me away to drive it from driving all the previous models. It's just a weapon.
You also race a Turbo S. How do they compare?
So the 2 litres wicked. The turbo cars, they're a little bit laggy straight off the throttle. So I find under heavy braking, I'm tending to sort of play with the throttle a bit in the braking area so that I'm on sort of full boost as early as I can be out of the corner, where this thing is just a monster from 2,000 RPM. It is just hang on tight. There's just obviously no boost, no waiting on horsepower. It's right there on hand, and yeah, it's crazy fast. So yeah, get ready.
We've got the drive modes as well. You've got different drive modes. So explain to us the difference between the race mode, the rock mode, and I think the sport mode.
Yeah, okay, so we've got comfort mode, which is our softest setting. Comfort mode is exactly in the name. You know, you're cruising with people in the car, or maybe you're on the way back from a hard sort of ride, wherever you may be. It's like driving a boat. It doesn't matter what you hit, you cannot feel it through the bumps. It's super impressive, but then if you do happen to go and hit something quite big, it's still there. Like, we were able to still do our jump at the track with it in comfort. Quite an impressive system as far as the softest setting. Yeah, then we've got the Baja setting, which was really cool the way it picks up the front of the car. Perfect for your whoops, and obviously for Baja. Super impressive for big hits. Then we got the rock setting, with the idea is that it helps you bounce off the rocks with the suspension. So, and then track mode, that was the one that we did the most with, and yeah, it was phenomenal. The car stayed so flat in the corners. The steering does change a little bit through the modes, giving it more feedback or less feedback. I think they've hit the nail on the head. Perfect.
This is like at home, out at places like Fink, big, long, whooped out, big holes, that kind of stuff. Is it going to be more stable given the suspension that's in this machine and the big engine than, say, other shorter wheelbase leader side-by-sides in that big, fast desert style racing?
Without a doubt. So long wheelbase is always better in your really rough, high-speed desert terrain. You sacrifice weight with a long wheelbase, so ideally tracks that you don't have to start and stop all the time, the long wheelbase is going to be a lot more effective. The key is having a super long trailing arm, really is what it comes down to, and then having enough strength to hang onto that trailing arm and hang onto that wheel, and that's what they've done. And any whooped out terrain, it's going to be the weapon of choice.
Personally, I was blown away by it. As a punter, I had it in kind of all the soft and average settings, and that was enough to kind of get my adrenaline going. I found when I put it in full race mode and Baja suspension, I just struggled to keep it going straight. It produces that much power. So it's cool that you can kind of customize it to suit every kind of skill level. Jackson, thanks for having us out at your place today. We had an absolute ball sending this thing around your motocross track. It's revitalized our love for big four-seater, serious, think and race side-by-sides. So thanks, buddy, and we're looking forward to coming back out with the Turbo R.